Ah, hello. Could I get some basmati rice with ketchup and fries? Get out of here. Get out of here. We are not cooking that. Hello, and welcome to the library / the restaurant today. I don't know. I hope that you are doing well. I'm doing well. Kind of. I don't know. I was cooking just earlier, so it's really like a cooking day for me. I had like some batch cooking to do. So yeah, it will be an interesting stream today as we are playing Cooking Simulator, a game that I wanted to do for a very long time. So I don't know. I have like some expectations since people had like, you know, a pretty good opinion of the game. And hello, Kali. Listrand, Raspberry, yes. This is a slow day for me. I wanted to do some grocery also, but I was like completely stuck in the cooking, so I was not able to go out because things were on the stove. So we are here for a pretty chill stream, to be honest. Like I am still reeling from the entire preparation of A Leaf of Their Books, at least the pilot episode from Friday. Preparations are going well for the episode this week, for this week's episode. Hello, Siggy. I have only seen bad Cooking Simulator streams like every 15 seconds, and alarm sounds and my keyboard is electrified while playing cooking. What are you? People are boiling a single fry with 10 liter. I don't know. To be honest, I've never seen a stream or a video of the game, so it will really be a blind discovery today. Hello, Vi. Hello. I hope that you are all doing good. Yeah, I don't know. I know it's like kind of this game that is supposed to be really chaotic, and you should be struggling, especially with time pressure when orders are piling up. But I don't know. I think like we will fight against the controls of the game a lot. It seems to be like this kind of game where you're supposed to have some difficulty and the fun comes from it. It's not as streamlined as, for example, fast food restaurant simulator, well, the latest like big hit. I've seen like a few streams and the controls seemed pretty streamlined. Here I think it's a bit more involved, maybe not at the point of, you know, Surgeon Simulator or games like that, but I don't know. We'll see. We will be able to talk about food a lot and judge, you know, the dishes in the game. So it will be interesting. Yeah, you get a ah, but you won't get a hi. No, a more ooh, hi. This is not for today, and I think this is not for this week or the week after. You have to bargain a bit harder than that, I believe. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have been good, but was that enough? Was that enough? I don't know. I don't know. It's like, you know, the gifts for Christmas. You can't be like, I'm nice for like 1 or 2 days and then like I deserve all the gifts of the world. You have to do better than that. We are never good enough for judgment once again. Some cool. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But I love you. I love you. That is, something that will never change. But what you're asking is beyond that level. By the way, speaking of like beyond that level and weird things, it has like no actual relationship. But yesterday I was watching like the Death Stranding 2. I think it was pre-order trailer, whatever, or the second trailer we had for the game. And I'm afraid Kojima is cooking this time around. And I think like from what I've seen, there's at the very least, if we're talking about, the corporate game awards, it will obviously be the GOTY of this year, I believe. And the story seems to be very, very good this time around. There's like a very interesting take on America, Mexico, and Metal Gear Solid. So interesting. We will not play it, I believe, on stream, but I'll be happy to talk about it. It's set to be released on June, I think, end of June. So at that point, we'll be able to talk a little bit about it, because I believe I will see some videos or go through it with friends in my downtime. Miyabi wa watashi tachi no, and this is like too small. 愛している. I don't. I do. 愛する would not be the word that I would be using, but yes. And hi, Aurora. It's so good to see you here. Awawawawawa. Kiwawa? Well, anyway, I don't think I have like any more pre-stream yap in me. So we'll go into like the other scene, if I can click on the right things. I think we'll go for like full screen because it's more immersive, but we'll have like to change the maybe the where the model and the chat is. We'll see. Also, I promised that I had like some chef hat. I believe it's here. It's very big. It's a very big hat, but what can I say? Transition from pre-stream yap to mid-stream yap. Yes, but this is a real transition because I can like yap on the game, and I have like things on the game that are interesting to talk about, or at least I hope it's interesting, because else I'll be very sad. I think the breathing animation of like my hat is not completely. I mean, I'm a bit dumb because I could have done something very smart, and something very smart would be like to inherit the movement from myself, and I think it would be better, and we are happy like that. Yes, it's better. It's a very big hat. Yes, maybe you don't know what is under the hat. Like, this is my secret. I have maybe my personal mascot. There's a tiny Miyabi controlling a bigger Miyabi, probably. But that is some lore that you are not privy to right now. It's still, in the work. You will have the reveal of the mascot of the stream in, a few streams, but I'm very dumb because I could have done something very smart. Probably, yes. Okay, so are we starting? Probably. So I know that you can like go into, you know, different things. Maybe we should do the tutorial first and then we go into career mode. This is not the cow. This is not the cow. I'm losing it. I thought I escaped the cow allegation. I saw that you talked about like cow, bird, and I was like, we will never, you know, go past that first meme. But yes, you have like some things. I think like the sushi DLC was the latest one released last year. I don't have it, so we are not being weebs today. We'll probably just go like cooking school and then career mode, and then we'll die because like being in a restaurant and cooking in a restaurant is not cooking at home. It's so stressful, and we will just disappear among the seas of butterflies. Can't believe I missed the call. It was like first stream. It was first stream, 21st minutes into the stream. You had to be there. What, buying my ingredients in my... What? Okay. Is the sound good also, or is the music a bit too loud? I don't know. Is the game dying? Are we already dying? Oh. Gordon Ramsay in my game. I am an idiot sandwich. I'll teach you how to build products, containers, and without wasting too much time. Thank you. Thank you, my good sir. I want you to walk up... Oh. Do Gordon Ramsay was... I don't think I'm able to do that. The music's pretty quiet. Seems fine to me. Okay. Welcome to my restaurant where the customer brings their own ingredients. Yes! That should be... First of all, this is a concept, you know, not even a concept. This is like pretty usual in some places, you know, in Asia. Like you come with your fish and you say, I want you to cook this fish. And they're like, okay, we are doing that. And then you only pay for the labor. Take that tomato to the countertop and set it aside. I'm putting you aside. Okay. Should I take like a plate? When you got a container in a hand, you can carry multiple items. Saves a lot of time. What? I can't how do I crouch? Well, this is crazy. Why won't you go in the... Okay, because you're falling into the plate. I understand. Gordon Ramsay, so true. That was the tutorial. Maybe we should not care about this then. Let's go immediately into it. I want like... I want us to struggle during this stream. I'm not eating that floor tomato. You won't know it was on the floor. You won't know that. Bringing your own fish is fairly common in South America as well, particularly in Northeast Brazil. Exactly. It's just that people are used to like Western restaurantation, whatever you want to call that. Restoration, I think. No, it is in French, but I don't know if it's a valid word in English. I don't know. Anyway, let's go into Korea and let's struggle together. My voice is so tired. Relax mode. No. Never. Where in Asia does that happen? I've never seen a place like this here. I think I've seen like a lot in China and in Hong Kong and Singapore as well. Did I choose like relax mode or not? I think like not relax mode is just that you don't have a timer. Like people are waiting an infinite amount of time for you to cook. So welcome to Cooking Simulator. As you've already noticed, the restaurant, you are now employed Sorry, you're now employed in does not have the greatest rating. What do you mean? Like, as you have already noticed, I've noticed nothing. Your task is to restore it to its former glory and reach the highest level of prestige. The last chef left in the kitchen covered in sticky notes. Maybe they will be of some use to you. Good luck. Good luck to me. What the? Sensibility is a bit low now. Did it? This is crazy. You can use a laptop to pin a recipe. This is my preparation. Oh, my preparation phase. Okay, but you're seeing like things you shouldn't be able to see. Wait, I'm doxing myself. What are those things? Tomato soup. Streams over. Just close your eyes. It's fine. The chat is in a very bad place also, but there's no good place for chat. This is crazy. I don't know what we are doing. What do you mean? What? Maybe we should have done the tutorial. I don't know. And please. Okay. We need to learn the recipes. Salmon fillet, okay. Boiled potato, okay. This is easy. Tomato soup. Chicken broth, salt, black pepper, cayenne pepper, powder, tomato, onion, boil, sour cream at the end after blending. Okay, pour in a deep plate, serve hot. And then you baked trout, pepper, thyme, dill, baking tray. We bake horseradish, plated, and some lemon. Garnish with parsley leaves. Okay, but where's like my... Try to not go bankrupt. Oh, I can like take only one by one. This is crazy. We are cooked. We are so cooked. There's no... I'm losing it. Don't I have like some sort of like bigger container to be able like to get the ingredients? How was it like for the tomato soup? Damn. I don't have like... There's like no music. This is like so obnoxious. Boys one plate. Try to not go bankrupt. I need to buy plates every time. This is... So tomato soup without tomato is like you want like the chicken broth, which is fine, I guess, but... Are those tomato already peeled when I buy them? Are they? What the heck? Bring your own plate restaurant. There's a radio you turn... There's a radio I turned off. There's a radio I turned off. Will we get like copyright strike by this? How much was... Okay, so we need like... we need 8 tomato for... I don't have like a bigger plate. This is... I'm losing it. This is... Everything is falling, but it's on the back... It's on the back room. You don't know it's like falling into the ground. Just eat the tomato. Nothing is ready here. This is a bit like... And where's my... Where's the... Okay. Okay. Maybe maybe also like why is like the fridge not, you know, in this area here? Why do I need to go here to get, like, I'm losing it. Being able to buy time feels like pay to win. This is true. Let's take those. How okay, we don't have time. We don't have a lot of time. We need deal for the okay. Black pepper. I think this will be very interesting. First guest should arrive shortly. Look, someone ordered a dish. Every time a client orders something, you will be notified on the upper left corner of the screen. Notification will appear when you have only a minute left to complete a dish. You're slightly late, or when you're slightly late, or when a client gives up waiting and goes home to work then. Okay, so you wanted like tomato soup. Tomato soup is like chicken broth. Where do I have like, are you... I'm not ready because I've not seen like my... This is... Where's my tool? Well, my tools! This is crazy! Are we like... just eyeballing the... Take the pot. I beg of you. Why is it on this side? Advanced control, maybe? Open bottle. I'm opening the bottle. I can rotate. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. The controls. Oh yes, this is crazy. A bit... Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Do I have like things to clean? Do you have to buy the fork and spoon? I don't know. Where's my salt? Close the fridge, I beg of you. Oh, I took the salt. This will be something. Change the amount to... It will be very heavy on salt, I guess, with the broth, but black pepper. Did you... No, okay, you went into mixture, whatever it means. Cayenne pepper, 6. You don't have the time to clean... Okay. This is like the least. Are we putting like the tomato like that? Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Onion. Chop them maybe. We don't have time. We'll see what what they say, but like you can... Are we blending? Because we're blending, we don't have to cut, right? I mean, we can cut maybe those, but like holding shift will open new ways to manipulate my... What the... Oh no, I need to rotate. This is crazy. What are we doing? Okay. Put down the knife. I swear. Can I put like the... Oh no. What are you doing? This is crazy. Should have... You're not even in the pot. Okay, go there, I guess. This is... Was the onion betating? I don't know. Do I have like a timer? I don't think... Oh, we are late. I should have like a timer on my phone, perhaps. Like, I think it's easier than using like a timer on the game. I think it has been like 20 seconds, let's say. That's on the table. That's on the table. I mean, we can just use that, right? Also, there's like no in front of me. Oh, so true, so true, so true. But I think like it's easier to because you need to later. It's fine. Are you already okay? We need to. Because you won't go into the... what the heck? Do I need to go into like... This is crazy. I think it's more fun to see you cook properly than rush an insane dish. Maybe. I mean, at some point we'll try to go like, we will drop everything. It's crazy. I'm losing it. No, ma mixture. We can't do this. And I'm burning myself. Like I'm taking those. I can't take those because I'm burning myself. This is crazy. We are okay. I need like to. We can't blend this. This is horrible. There's like no broth inside. Don't even think about it. Do I have like things to clean? Because like this is not this. We can't like work in this environment. I believe. This is a modern. This is a deconstructed tomato soup. I don't have like things to clean. I have like a pan. I have like... And also, where is the... You can't... Where's the thing to close the blender? Am I insane? You can't... Okay. That's sour cream. They will never know. Close the fridge. I beg of you. Open the bottle. You can't. Okay. This is a bit weird. This is like such a weird way. Does it look like a tomato soup? It doesn't look at all like a tomato soup. Don't even worry about it. I mean, I'm making you like wait. What am I doing? Oh, because you can do your prep before, because like you're doing... Don't worry, it's a tomato soup. But where do I send it? Is it here? Did I doctor? Oh, we're not taking any mass of the dish. There's like nothing in the plate. Don't even worry about it. It's fine. Okay. I want to clean things, but we don't have time. Okay. We're learning. This is fine. Okay, trout. Season. Black pepper, thyme, and dill. Me with my gymnopedy. One, two, three, four, five. We need like to have like a better organization, I believe. Where's my... Oh, we need more space. Are you sending it? Okay. Like that. No, nothing else. Just that. This is crazy. This is no oil. Because they are like tracking the... Or are they? I can't see like the progression of the horseradish though. But that here, cooking, listening to that song all day will drive you insane. I think so. It is like the fourth cooking. This is true. We need like some lemon. Okay. Okay. Did I? Oh, we need like some... Where? Where's the fresh? I don't know. I don't know. This is like such a weird cut. You should be able to... Okay. Weird but acceptable, I guess. Put that back. You should be almost ready, right? Let's buy a plate. We need to buy a plate. Oh, we can use a plate from, you know, the tomato that went on the... This is crazy. Take it out. Take that out of the... before it burns. And we never, like, turn that off. This is like an interesting game. I think we should not be allowed in a restaurant. What do they want to do exactly? Okay, we season first with like... One, two, three, four, five. Did I put 6? Who cares? You're not able to taste that. Serve hot. I mean, yes. Are we putting that on the side of the plate? This is crazy. Oh, okay, I can... Don't walk in... If I move too fast, it's not sticking. This is crazy. I need to walk slow. They will never know. They will never know. We're putting just like the this is crazy. Can you put that like properly at first? Where's like my parsley also? You're not. You shouldn't be inside. Where is it? Onion. Did I? Where's the? I'm losing it. She's shattering a plate. Yes, don't even worry about it. Do I have like cupboards for? I don't have like pots of. Where is the? I'm like you. Garnish with parsley leaves, fresh. Okay, but where? Are you keeping them inside? You shouldn't. I don't know. Just send it. Just send it. This is just, you know. Parsley tastes like nothing. They don't even know. They don't even know. It's fine. They don't even know that the fish was on the floor. It's fine. Start cleaning the kitchen. Okay, but how are you cleaning the kitchen? This is like... This is crazy. Do I have like a... I don't know. Do I have like... something to clean? Oh, yes. Oh, but it's so... Okay, it's... Oh. There's like physics for cleaning. That will be annoying for everyone. Why are you also like... I'm playing hockey right now. Maybe we should put our own music, because like, this is just so bad. I can't... The controls are not allowing me to clean this part of the... I beg of you, advanced control. They will never know. But yes, maybe we should like try to cook, you know, without time pressure and just do like interesting dishes, and we can like criticize the dish. Nothing is... Do I have like, you know, clothes or something like that, like to clean on here? Oh, this is where the parsley was, but like, they will never know. Bucket, for what? What am I doing with a bucket? I just want like, you know... I'm losing it. I don't even have like a bin. I can't put like this shattered plate anywhere. They will never know. Can I take like my... No, this is when things are burning. I don't know. I don't know. I want to clean, but like, if you don't give me like the tools to clean, then we are going nowhere. What can I say? Yeah, I don't have like... This is like the worst kitchen of all time. This is the worst kitchen of all time. Oh, but it's on. Anyway, let's just go and we're trying something. Obviously the income went low because like we completely failed the first dish. Choose a perk. I will also put the music back. I think we can have like better music in general than the one in the game. Choose a perk. A plate will never break. Pick up and carry hot ingredients in your hands. This is like pretty good. Hold down shift to freeze item in place while cutting. It's fine. It will take like this. Skill points without affecting the score. You can earn like more king point, blah, blah, blah. What are you talking about? I want like the cheap product, I think. Day 2. Such a weird experience. Don't worry about the kitchen, it's fine. The problem is that I think we can't really buy anything in advance because we don't know what will be the rotation of dish. So I guess we can buy like maybe some... Oh, we can't. Enable relax mode. I think so. Also, music off since we have like our own soundtrack now. Maybe, okay, so we can skip the preparation phase since we're playing in relax. Okay, so salmon. I'll put like the recipe here and here so it's easier to do our prep. Okay, so this is like salmon fillet season, add to the pan. Okay, fry both sides obviously, and then boiled potato. The problem is that normally in real life I would do the boiled potato first, obviously, because and you wouldn't boil in 2 minutes, like it would be 20. So I would obviously start with the boiling potato, but maybe that's not like the best way to go right now. We can right handle. Okay, we don't need more than that. We need a little bit of salt. I don't know how, like, in transition they are with quantities. Because, like, you would never... And this is, like, not a lot of salt. Like, there's no point in putting that little salt, I guess, but... Oh, no, it's 20. It's 20. I was mistaken. Relax will be available tomorrow, probably. Potato. I would like, the things to stay like in the plate a bit more. You don't even have like enough water to boil those potatoes. This is crazy. Okay, so you can go for 2 minutes. Then we need to prepare the salmon. Salmon seasoned black pepper with salt and pepper, so salmon fillet. Thankfully, we are not like cutting our fillets ourselves, else it would be like such a pain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take the salt. Here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you want like some oil. This is like a fancy bottle for, some sunflower oil, but we need our pan. Can I like take this? Thank you. I want to work on the same side. We don't even see like the oil. This is crazy. And there. So you will be... You need a little bit of time. And then I'm adding... But we see also when this is ready, yes? We kind of see... So we can track. We don't have like to really use our... You should be good. I don't know why the water looks like this, but... Just, but you don't have... It doesn't matter, but... Because like, I guess the water was like kind of the... With like the amidon, right? How are you flipping the salmon with your hands? Yes, because we can like take things that are hot. So I guess you just do that. Or do we have like something to flip? Advanced control? Can you like... Can you flip the... Yes, we can. Don't even worry about it. I mean, salmon and like boiled potato, like not even mashed, it feels like this is like very lazy cooking, but... And you know, like, at some point when you cook, you just use your hands. Like, you're used to touching, like, hot things, and it's fine to just, like, flip things with your hands. Even I don't bother, you know, using, like, a spatula or something when flipping things. I mean, you could, like, have, like, maybe a better presentation, no? Like, this looks like pure ass. Can't you, like... Okay, because you're using basically like advanced control if you want to... And then I drop that way, yes. This look, if you buy salmon, you have to do it fancy. This is true. This is it? This is your dish? We're not taking a picture because it's not even oriented like in the right direction. This is not very sanitary. But you like clean your hands, so it's fine. Guest is pleased. Thank you. I don't know, like you have paid like $58 or whatever for this. This is crazy. Okay, it's our revenge on the tomato soup. So this time around, this pan that had like... I'm learning. And also like you buy like chicken. Oh, there's almost nothing. They don't have like a... Do I need to... What? I can't... Potatoes are rotated on the wrong side. Mayonnaise 1 star, but this is for... This is rotated in, you know, the right direction for them. I don't have like any more chicken broth. This is crazy. We won't be able to do it. I need to restock things? Like my entire... You're kidding me, right? Like I have to restock things on my own, and I have to buy them again from my own pantry? What do you mean? This should not be allowed. Maybe from the laptop. I don't think so. This is weird. This is like... You shouldn't have to struggle that much with like ingredients. Grabbing ingredients, I understand, but like they should like refill automatically, right? I won't make ingredients appear, but I do the same thing when I forgot, you know, to buy something, and I'm like, maybe it will appear as, you know, at some point. Also, we could have blended that way, but well, I'm sorry, it will be like a bit, you know. It won't be like really tasty, but what can I say? And what exactly? We need 3 other tomatoes. 1, 2, 3. Chicken broth, salt, pepper, cayenne, okay. I don't have long arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can go a bit more because there's no chicken... There's no chicken broth here. Who cares about, you know, precise quantity? Nobody cooks like that. Like, if you're cooking and you're like checking the quantities exactly, then maybe you shouldn't be cooking. No disrespect. Also, does want texture. So true. Cayenne 6. I mean, this is, again, we need like to compensate for the lack of. Onion. I will be nice, I will cut my onions. Just so it helps, like, you know, with the distribution of flavors. Also, why is this like cutting board like... Can I move things? They don't have to know about that. Move that cutting board like here. Okay, so just boil. Just boil. We never like... Okay. And we can track your cooking here. We don't need to put an alarm, right? Or maybe we do. I don't know. Onion. Onion. Cut tomato. We don't need to cut the tomato. It will like... If you boil like tomato, they will like kind of melt. This is not like onion. This is fine, don't worry. Sour cream. This was a splooch. But you're like weirdly cooking. This is... I don't know what is happening inside, but because we are doing it with water, and it's like, they're like, no, but like it doesn't change texture if it's not, you know, chicken broth. Use the expired sour cream from yesterday that's on the counter next to the oven. +2. I don't think we... Oh, we have like just the right quantity. We should like finish this, yes. Do I move down? I mean... It looks alright. It's just not very tasty, but... That you don't have to know. Oh, it's the entire thing. There you are. The sound is crazy. We need to buy a plate. Things that are harder in real life than cooking sim blender. I mean... blending is not really hard. Who would pour things like that? This is okay. And it's just like this, like nothing, no garnish, nothing. Well, it looks a bit, you know, diluted, but this is fine. They don't have to know. Add some parsley, perhaps. Taste not good. I wonder why. I wonder why the taste is not good. It was like Gordon Ramsay in disguise. Plate returned. Oh, thank you for giving the plate back. What do we want to... I don't know. Can we like buy... I don't want to do soups. Like soups are boring. No, soups are not boring. But soup in this game like is... I mean... We basically boiled tomatoes and that's all. And I guess like if we had, I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for what we've done. Like this is bad, but also this is a bad recipe. Like for, in general, I would say. What do you have like for Mid-Autumn Festival? Tell me. Nothing, because you're like searching, you know, in oblivion right now. We can't have good things, right? We are stuck with like uninteresting recipe. Borge. I mean, are you even searching? What are you doing here? So you cannot buy much. I don't think so. And I think also it's like kind of broken. Because now it's searching for like... Does it look like egg drop soup to you? It looks like puke. Are we forced to... Okay, we don't have a choice. We have to do like the borscht. You're going to need some new ingredients. You can find them in the store or in the shop. And now you have like... why are you only giving me like and not the other ingredients? Where's the store? I don't know. I don't know. Please, I beg of you. I need like some other ingredients. Please. I don't want decorations, just want to buy things. Where do we get puke drops? My favorite. I mean, they are probably more tasty than, you know, the tomato soup. At least in the flavors are more intense. I don't know. They won't know about all of these. Click cardboard box in kitchen. In kitchen? Where is it? You should play the tutorial, I get. I will be lost, I need to save my game like... You should play the tutorial. I don't want to play the tutorial. We can go sandbox also, no? If we just want to do the click that you will find in the kitchen. But the tutorial is bad. It's boring. Like, if your game doesn't have your the tutorial embedded in like the first level of the campaign, then maybe you should like redo your game. I'm sorry to say. Not everything can be found just like, and why not? I get it now. It's kind of bad. I think it's kind of bad. I mean, we should try to do like, okay, so who cares about all of, am I, according to price? Yes, thank you, thank you. Avocado oil, okay, I'm buying it, okay. That's it for my lesson, okay. So what we should do is like, we don't go campaign, we go like sandbox. And we like try some recipes. Tastes like nothing. Tastes like dog shit. I think, Gordon, you're the idiot sandwich. But I have like also a lot of, you know, this is maybe known. I have like a lot of, I don't know, pet peeves in you know, the YouTube culinary star thingy, in the sense that do your favorite dish in sandbox. I think that's what we'll do. Like there's this culture of like toxicity in the kitchen, and I think this is like so bad. Like, of course, cooking at home is very different than cooking in a kitchen, but I don't know. I've I find like, you know, the people like Gordon Ramsay, um, uh, how is he called already? Marcus Pierre White, and you know, like those top chefs, very toxic chefs, and I think like those people should not be allowed in a kitchen, because you're just creating a lot of, this looks like really, really bad. Maybe we should do something else. What do you have for violent? This is not like, this is, what is this? What is this? It's just his TV persona. I don't know. He's a kind of the same on I don't know. And it's like, it's the atmosphere that you're fostering in your restaurant as well. So you should not be allowed. I don't want to do barbecue. Do you? You don't have like any orange box? I mean, Chinese cuisine with like orange. It's not like, it's very American, let's say. Like when he works with children, he behaves more normally. So it makes me think that in real life he doesn't work like that. I think from what I've heard, like he is an ass. It's just like with children, he tries to put like a better face, I think. It's hard to say, but like I've seen at least from people that have worked in the industry, I think like I have heard bad things about like Gordon Ramsay, Marco Pierre White, and all those people. Chicken pumping stew with tomato. Why not? To be fair, why not? Okay. and we'll judge the recipe. I need you. Okay. So let's try to understand like the recipe. They want to do the marinade, it's fine. You want to do the sauce for after. Okay, so you're taking the chicken drizzled in marinade and you're not even waiting. We're cutting it into pieces. Why are you like cutting the breast after the marinade? This doesn't make any sense. I'm fairly sure he's an ass, but it would be of awful PR to be mean and scream to kids on TV. Surely the picture of a dish enhanced, but all of these ones look kind of bad because I would say like this is basically like the motto of the game. I mean the engine of the game. But yeah, I really don't like those TV personas. Like I think like there are some really great chefs, but most of like the people that are very famous on the internet are not great chefs in terms of, you know, human relationships. And I'm really not the only one like to have this opinion on them. The other problem I have is, you know, the entire like Uncle Roger trend and the people riding on it, because it's like, you're not a cook, you're like a random guy that talks about like cooking just because like you are Malaysian, and that gives you, I guess, like some authority to talk about like authenticity in Asian dishes, and it's like it's not. And like you have a lot of ideas that have propagated on the internet and that are wrong, that are just so wrong, with like Uncle Roger. For example, the entire idea of you can only do rice on a rice cooker. I mean, I do use a rice cooker because it's the most convenient way to cook rice when you don't want to, you know, pay attention to it. But you have like so many other ways that are valid and that works within the constraint of like Asian cooking, quote unquote. And you have like the same idea of, oh, if you want to do like some fried rice, you need like to use day-old rice. This is not true. If you're cooking the rice in other methods, you don't need to wait. And even if you're doing in a rice cooker, you don't need to wait for the next day to cook, to make your fried rice. It's just that you will use your fire and your stove a bit differently because your rice is wet, and it means that it will require a bit more attention, and you have to be a bit less aggressive on the cooking. Like, okay, maybe you won't have like wok hay, but like most people in their home cannot do wok hay because we don't have stoves. Well, some people have induction stoves first of all, but a lot of people don't have gas stoves that go high enough to be able to create wok hay. Never heard of using rice cooker being the only correct choice. That's crazy. He's crazy. Like, those are crazy ideas. And I mean, like, there's like some insane convenience about a rice cooker, but it's just not the only way. The best way, I believe, to cook rice, if you want to use it, like, you know, especially for Chinese or Southeast Asian dishes, it's to do it in you parboil it and then you steam the rice, and that's like the best way, I believe. And you will be able to use this rice immediately for fried rice, for example. My rice is always wet because my fridge sucks. I mean, also depends on how you're cooking your rice, because you can like have a rice that comes like over wet. And that's my problem with people only boiling their rice. I think like if you parboil and then you steam, you have like a better rice in average. If you only boil your rice, you have to be extremely careful about like the amount of water and the time you are spending on the stove. And it's like a harder science, I think, in general. So I don't know. And if you're doing that in a rice cooker, maybe it's just that you're putting a bit too much water. I would say that in general, you should like put a little bit less than like what is marked on the pot of the rice cooker. I think that if you're going really like the exact amount, the rice, at least for me, feels always a bit too wet. But we are talking about jasmine rice here, not about japonica rice or basmati, of course. So yes, it's a bit weird to do the marinade like before cutting the chicken breast. So we won't do that. We will change the recipe a little bit. So they want to add like peanut oil, chili pepper, and chicken breast. Yes, but like you should like add. This is a bit weird, for example. The recipe is a bit weird. We will be like trying our own recipe, to be honest. There's a game within this rice conversation, yes, but we can talk about the recipe at the same time. Like I'm not very, happy with the way they are cooking this. I think we'll do the sauce and the marinade first because I don't have like much. I wanted to say I have like nothing negative to say, but like it's maybe not true. I don't know. We need to check. Marinade is soy sauce, rice wine, and starch. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Depends on your soy sauce, but okay. Balsamic vinegar, soy sauce, hoisin, sesame oil is like okay, but you're putting that. I don't know. Okay, it can work. Sugar, starch again in the sauce. Sichuan pepper. Okay. I won't argue too much with like the marinade and we'll see, but like I'll try to do it like the way I would do it in real life. So we need a bowl. Or you... The fact that I cannot like take two bowls at the same time, like this is crazy. I have like, 2 hands. So soy, rice, 1 starch, okay. Where's my soy, lime, white wine, rice, and starch. Are you there? Okay. Quantities are all right, I think. We'll just adjust like the quantities, but I think it's fine overall, so we don't have to think too much about it. Okay, but like we have been okay. So what we'll do is just that we'll put a little bit more soy. And starch, we need to double the quantity of starch, I guess. So... goes for something like this. To be honest, I think that some things may be game limitation to not have you staring at nothing, but in terms of recipe, it does make sense that there are a thousand ways to cook the same recipe and you will never find one that everyone agrees. I think so. It's just that, and this is especially the case with, some cultures that have like a really, this is like, it looks like shit. This is like the problem with those cultures with this a very deep sense of like authenticity, is that you will have like some sort of like foolproof methods, basic steps to start like a recipe. And they are like basic steps for a reason. So I think like you can argue with some deviation that feels like unwarranted in general, I would say, because like there's a reason again why there's like a a method that everyone is kind of using. The sauce with balsamic vinegar is like crazy. We won't do that. This is very little soy, I believe, but also because they are compensating by using balsamic vinegar, which is like a weird choice. So we'll try to compensate by adding more soy. This is a very light soy sauce also from what we can see, which is alright because like Chinese and Japanese soy sauce is not the same. And they can't be used in the same settings, but still, it doesn't look very appealing, I would say. Okay, hoisin will go for this. Approximately, I wish like we had like some cloth to be able to clean, but I guess it's not the case. They want to add like this is fine. Again, there's like a school of like sesame oil being not put in the sauce immediately because you don't want to cook it. So we can put a little bit, it's fine, but like I prefer using the sesame oil at the very, very, very end. I find it like a bit weird to put that on the sauce that will be cooking. But what do I know? I'm just a random. I'm just a random. Oh, you need more than that. I guess it's fine. A random fox, I guess. Sichuan pepper. We can go for more than that. Like this is nothing. And like it's in a powder, so yeah, put some. Okay. So basically, we know that this sauce will be like for cooking, and this sauce is like for the chicken, so we'll stay here. The thing is that I don't want to marinate first and then cut. It doesn't make any sense, right? Normally you cut first and then you marinate because it has to stay in the fridge a little bit. Marinating like meat in general, I think, should always be done in Chinese cooking, but you don't have like to do a wet marinade because here we are going with soy and rice wine. This is fine. This is really fine. But I don't know. It's also like debatable because we already have like a good sauce. I believe you can marinate only with starch. This is kind of important because it will allow like a better Maillard reaction and like some better cooking overall. So I really encourage people to take like a leaf from Chinese cooking's book because like starch is such a strong ingredient to use when you're cooking meat, and especially when you're cooking like smaller chunks of meat instead like of a big steak or something like that. And you can use starch. In Western cooking we tend to use like a flour. It's basically the same effect. So white wine is mirin, right? It's like it's nice. It's like a staple of Asian cooking. It like helps like strike a better balance because like soy sauce alone is a bit too much, even if like again like Chinese soy sauce is lighter in general than what we tend to know as soy sauce because we are weebs. But yeah, mirin is fine. This is like basically this is standard. Like my problem is more with like this particular sauce that use like balsamic vinegar when it doesn't need to, and I would like put like more soy and more hoisin instead. Mirin has higher sugar content and lower alcohol content compared to many other rice wine. Yes, and that's why I like it. At least I really cook with like mirin because I like the way it really contrasts with soy sauce. I mean, but you can use like other wines, of course. This is not mirin is obviously not the standard Chinese cooking wine, but it's also less expensive. So it's a matter of preference. And at some point, it's like the same question about authenticity, right? There's no point in seeking authenticity in everything, as long as you believe that it tastes like nice. We don't really care, I believe. But yeah. Because I don't know. I don't remember like the price for other Chinese cooking wines, but I remember it was quite expensive the last time we bought some. Okay, so let's do like the chicken first. Okay, but sausage, beef, chicken breast, okay. So we'll kind of like cut a very interesting and very important thing in like we won't like do it like I will cook the same way I cook like in real life. But the idea of what do I want to say? Chinese cooking and Asian cooking in general is that you shouldn't use when you're at the table, you shouldn't have to use a knife. Can I am not able to cut like those pieces at the same time because like I'm not using my left hand to like don't throw things, just drop them nicely. You shouldn't use a knife at the table. If you have to cut like your own food, it means that the chef kind of sucks. You should also sharpen your knife. We shouldn't have like such a problem cutting food. Or like we can't go for smaller chunks than that, I guess, is what the game is trying to say. You just disappeared from existence. I can't go because like those like chunks right here, this is like obviously too big, right? You cannot eat that in one. I'm not able to cut things. This is crazy. What is happening with? Are you like clipped under the? Chicken is gone. I think like this is interesting, like this emphasis on mechanical execution here on this particular game, and it really feels like a Western game, because in Japanese like simulators, it would be like a bit less arcade, and it's really. This looks like shit. I would not like leave that. I guess the engine is not able like to cut like smaller than that. I would not leave those chunks. But in Japanese games, yes, you have this idea that that but we don't care about like movement much. It's just about you need to cook things when we are cooking things. It's like a bit weird to put this that way, to be honest. Like what we should do is like take another bowl. We don't have like big, you know, I don't remember how you call that in English, but like in French it's like cul de poule, which is like basically those big bowls, you know, in metal where you cook inside. We can take like this, but this is weird. Next time I cook something weird, I'll go, sorry, the engine won't let me cook it smaller. And I mean, this is like really a problem because the essence of really preparing ingredients and especially when you're mincing things at a professional level, it's the art of going extremely small. Like you should be taking your time with every cut. You should not try to pile, you know, the food on top of each other. Because it's yes, you're gaining a bit of time, but you're definitely losing. You're definitely losing a lot of. So know that you haven't been marinated. You take this color, so I guess we should like take the L and put like more marinade than what I would do normally. And we basically put everything, so there's... It's a bit weird, I guess. It's weird marinade, but... I brought you this atomized chicken. No, blend it. I mean, sometimes you want to cut like meat in a very fine way, you know? I mean, a small way. Just because, I don't know, you're doing like, well, obviously not with chicken, right? But if you're doing minced meat and you don't have like a machine, you do it by knife. And this is like the typical skull where you have like two knives and you're like kind of like crushing the meat with like your cleavers and you're blending them by hand. But yeah, it really depends on what you want to do, but especially with vegetables, I think like onions, you should be able, and shallots, you should be able to like really go fine there, because it's just that very important, I guess, at some point where you're trying to really make the onion or whatever melt during cooking, and especially, for example, when you're doing a risotto or something like that. So I guess we'll cook in this. So we'll cook here, I believe. Let's prepare like the ingredients, because that's also one of the interesting 毎日にしてやる the interesting thing about like cooking in you know, Asian setting, and especially if you're cooking with wok, is that you will need to have your entire prep ready beforehand, before you start like using the fire, because cooking in a wok, it goes really fast. So everything should be like at arm's length to be able. Did I say monchi? Minchi. But everything should be at arm's length to be able to, yeah, to cook properly. This is very different than when, for example, I'm cooking more Western dishes, where I feel like I'm like, oh, I can put this on the fire and it will take, you know, 10 minutes to melt, I don't know, some vegetables. So I can do other things at the same time. I can do like some prep, some cutting. Or like to optimize my time. But in Chinese cooking, everything needs to be like prepped before you start cooking with fire. I'm like, so you don't then knock back from the fire +2. +2, do people have the reference here? I don't know. I don't know. So peanut oil, chili pepper, and chicken breast. I don't understand what they want to do. It's like scallion, add to the pan. This is very weird, for example. Like, you should do your aromatics first. So we shouldn't begin with... oh, they all... are they? I don't know. No, this is just bad. This is just very bad. We will not follow this recipe. What you want to do first in like Chinese cooking is do the aromatics first. So I'll probably agree with like the balsamic, sunflower, red wine, honey, white vinegar, peanut oil. I agree with peanut oil. I don't have a problem with that. Even if, like, you know, just like some neutral oil in general would suffice. We can go for some... Sorry. Star anise is important. Dijon mustard. Where's the turmeric, chili flakes? I mean, you would not use like, you know, chili flakes. You would use like entire chilies, but do we have like entire chilies? Carrots, chili pepper. We have some. We have some. Let's cook that way then. We are not following this like crazy, this crazy recipe. Let's use this to get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With this one, we'll cut like those chilies. I know that there's a school that says that don't put like the really don't put the seeds of the chilies. I think yes, you're losing a bit of heat that way. To be fair, like in Chinese cooking, when you're removing the seeds, it's not for the heat. It's mostly because the texture is like uninteresting and it like clashes with the rest of the dish. But you shouldn't feel forced, especially at home, I believe, to like what am I doing? This is not the same control. I need also my cutting board to be like closer to the edge. You shouldn't feel forced to like remove the seeds from your chili. I know that we have some spicy food hater in this chat, so you are allowed to remove the seeds, but like don't feel forced to if you can handle the heat. What the heck? Very dangerous. There you go. I really want someday to have like some cooking stream. And something that, you know, feels better than this game. But I would say that's why I kind of like don't trust people in general with those like kind of cooking simulators, is that those are games for people that don't cook. So they have like a very poor opinion of what cooking in a real kitchen is. This is a bit annoying to like take everything by hand, but the physics. I'll remove the chili +2. That's why I usually remove them, but you don't need to remove them, all of them or anything. Most Viet dishes, they leave the seeds in. Usually because they are often served on the side to add as you want. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Again, like if you're removing them in like, let's say professional cuisine, it's mostly that you don't want the texture of the seeds because they are crunchy and you don't want that. It has like no relationship with the spice, to be honest. There's this incredible scene of that movie, Woman, Man, Eat and Drink, where you see like the chef like removing the seeds of the chili, but again, it's mostly for textural purposes and not for anything else. We should always... Okay, we are not ready to start, obviously. So we should do our garlic, I guess. Garlic, do we have like ginger also here? We'll put like that. And where's my garlic? Here. So I have to peel them. Those I have to... I need to peel them. This is what you mean? But how am I peeling like this ginger? I mean, you don't have to... I mean, in this particular dish, it would be better like to peel the ginger, but like you're also not forced to peel the ginger in like most like Asian dishes, to be honest. You have clipped again. I'll put you there and we'll just like, you know, kind of cut things in a very lazy way, because we don't need to be exactly... We don't need like to mince the garlic in those type of recipes. Because this is a big thing of Chinese cooking as well. It's that there's a lot of things that are in your plate that you won't eat, that they are just here for decorations or to impart flavors, but you're not supposed to eat, you know, the entire garlic head that was thrown in the dish. Why is there a bonus garlic in the ginger? What are you talking about? To be fair, I think I'll put everything in the same, because you're all aromatics. So I can get away with... In this bad game's defense, I do agree that a game cannot be too detailed or you lose the game. You need to remove some ingredients to make things more uniform. You cannot go insane with food prep detail either. But it's true, they probably Google most of the recipes instead of going for specific restaurants for info. So more restaurants don't cook a single meal at once. Most restaurants do not cook a single meal at once. Yes, you do your prep. You do your prep, and especially in Chinese cooking, most of the dishes will have the same start. Like you have the same sauce, you have like the same aromatics, and the goal of like Chinese restaurant is to do as much work as you can beforehand, while minimizing the number of ingredients that are deviating from, you know, the standard recipes, and then it's just a matter of putting things in the wok and then cooking. As for the previous question or argument, I do agree, but again, like Cooking Mama is really good because it accepts the idea of this being like more home cooking, and because like it's really centered around the recipes and not like the movement around the kitchen, then you have like a more realistic, I think, approach on what cooking actually is. Here, like, they are trying to emulate the entire experience of cooking in a restaurant or a big kitchen, let's say. And of course, like, they are opening the door to more mistakes and things like that. And again, like, we have been taking like 40, I know we talked, but we have been taking like 40 minutes to, you know, just cut some ingredients. In real life, like, this would have been done like in you know, 2 minutes maximum, because like we don't have time to fiddle with, you know, the gameplay of the game. We'll take like some scallions also, but like, also Siggy ate all the garlic. I'm not surprised. So this is like very typical also of Chinese cooking. When you're cooking with scallions, obviously what you want to do is like separate the green. I mean, the green would be that, but like, I can't cut more than that. You want to separate the green from... I can't cut more than that, which is a bit crazy. I don't have like another cleaver. You're just like... No, I don't want to play this. I want like a knife that is actually cutting. It's midnight, so again, I need to sleep. Thank you for being here, and we'll have like... I need to find like some other cooking games that are more interesting than that. I know that Burtnot has played Vemba and was less... But we talked about that already on the Kirby stream, I think. Was less impressed by the game than most people. But I want, yeah, to find like those games just because they are conducive to some interesting discussions. It's just that, yes, here it's mostly about, you know, some kind of criticism of what cooking is for the average non-cooker. I should like take also you, and I'm taking you back. It's like a criticism of what people believe cooking is. Like, we are not wasting time on small things like that. There's obviously like a difficulty curve, a learning curve, I would say, with let's say learning, you know, some basic steps like cutting and things, improving your technique. But after you cooked like for a while, there's no point in losing time on chopping things in a very slow way. Like, we are going fast. We don't have the time for all these minutiae. And this is weird because we won't really use the green for garnish since we are not able to cut them like, you know, smaller than that. But yeah, this is like those games, those simulator games are obviously like games for people that are not doing the specific like job that is represented in the game. There's those silly Papa's Pizzeria games. They are fun, but I'm also very nostalgic for them. They are, I believe, very good. And I know that, for example, NL is the very big defender of the Papa's Pizzeria games, and I do agree with him. Because like those games did understand that it's a game. Maybe you don't focus on the minutiae because you're not thinking in my head. Damn. She has been she has been like called out as um neurotypic. This is so over for me. I mean, take 2 of them, it's fine. I see some chili on the floor. Too bad. Once again, I think this game is bad, but people play it because how bad it is. Probably, yes. They want to... There's this whole idea of fighting the drunk, right? And people find that funny. But I don't know, I like also the, you know, clinical aspect of games like Overcooked or even PlateUp. If I haven't played PlateUp yet, but I really want to play PlateUp. And I think that's the good thing that Fast Food Simulator did. It's like you have this collaborative experience, but like the cooking parts are easy. It's just like rushing from one place to another. I don't like the game because I think it's like kind of not glamorizing, but it's really playing with the aesthetic of fast food service, which is like horrendous. And we shouldn't like be fine with this. But I think at the very least it's doing like a better job of representing what we can do with cooking in video games. Whether playing the game, when not playing the game seriously, which is like unfortunate in the sense, I mean, unfortunate for us and for me especially, because I really want to find like games where we can cook seriously. And the problem is like, it's really hard to find those games. I don't have a lot of examples, to be fair. So I think we should be like pretty good with like the prep. So what do you want to do first is like I'm putting like the fire. Obviously you would go higher with those particular stove. Like this is obviously not enough for this. And we have, this is not a real wok as well. You can see like this is a paella pan, so like we are doing what we can with what we have. It's really strange to me to have like some Chinese recipes, but you don't have like a wok, a proper wok. So what you would do normally is where is like the standard oil? Sunflower. You would like kind of do a first pass of oil just to offended by calling neutral sunflower oil standard oil. I would say not standard but neutral, in the sense that we are not using olive oil in Chinese cooking. Because first of all, like the boiling, well, the fuming point is like much lower, and it like gives a flavor to the dish that we don't want. Normally you would have like a proper station where you would like throw the oil away, but I guess we are kind of, you know, savage people, and we'll just put like the I can't like, where do I oh, I need to use advanced control right here. So okay, but a first pass of oil, and then we go for a little bit of peanut oil, something like this. You're like raising the temperature of the oil. Olive oil for everything. I mean, I do agree, but this is also a very, I'm sorry to say that way, but like, no, it's not even like bad. It's just like you can't use like olive oil for everything. You can't use olive oil for everything. This is just, if you use olive oil like for cooking in a wok, you will have a lot of issues. you will never convince me. And I'm like an olive oil enjoyer, but do I have like some spatula? I mean, that would be nice. Or are we cooking just with our hands? I guess like the game is like you don't need like to, you know, think about that too much. We're kind of forced to play with like going in and out of the fire. So what I do know, so they are not happy because they believe like garlic is cooking like much faster and it will continue to cook even after. And I'm like, yes, but no. So know that let's say you have cooked the aromatics. What you want to do is add the your meat. And there are two schools here. Either you can like remove like the like for example, they are saying like the garlic is burning. It's really not, because at that point you would be moving things around and like the garlic is kind of like unable to cook further. Mostly, I use mostly palm oil for my dishes. It really depends on what type of cooking you're in. I could write a deep essay about cooking oils here. To be fair, I mean, like we're so used to olive oil that we are not used to other oil boiling points. I've seen so many people burn sunflower oil. Yes, but this is really, I believe, like a question of, again, what type of like cooking you're trying to do. I basically only use vegetable and sometimes sesame oil. I mean, yes, it's just that sesame oil should not be used at the beginning. You should like use it afterwards to finish like the cooking. Because if you're cooking at the start with like sesame oil and then it loses all the flavor, which is kind of the only point of like sesame oil, to be honest. So okay, so know that your thing has been like, we would stay on the fire, of course, but like you take your sauce and it should have like starch. Well, it should have starch back inside, and that would kind of like finish the cooking and also like thicken the sauce, so you won't stay that long in here. You can go here and basically no, you can, we cannot cut them like smaller than that, but you would add like your scallion, your greens, just for garnish. You can stay a little bit on the fire if you want, but not too much. And that's normally the point where you're serving things. So here normally I would take like a large plate, I would say. And we would like serve I don't want like, I wouldn't like you serve that way, like you don't pour things, but it's more like you're putting first like the vegetables and then on top you're putting like the meat. We can do that by the hand if we are really like, if we are really kind of psychopathic, but like, and also I guess, I mean, normally you would do like a lot more. I don't, what the, why are you so high? What is happening? This is crazy. Physics is crazy in this game. And I can't really go whatever. Oh, because I don't have the skill, so that I can't like take with my hands, I guess. But if I'm using like the plate first, I'm able to pick things. And then on top, and the idea now is that we would do like a kind of red sauce to put on top, but obviously like this is not a really good game. So yeah. But the same way that you cannot cook a pure, authentic Chinese dish outside of China unless you're importing everything, even the water, you end up having to adapt some small things to the country where you draw the line of what is acceptable is debatable. I see. Yes, exactly. Well, this is the big, question about authenticity. And there are some concessions that you can do. Like for me, it's not about like following an exact recipe. It's about the essence of the dish. It's like why with half of the ingredients on the floor. I mean, this is normal, right? You would be disappointed if it wasn't the case. But yes, there's the question of like, what is this dish essence? What is this its meaning? And you can like switch ingredients if it fits like the overall meaning of the dish, I would say. Because if you're not, then you're doing your dish and it's like completely different from the initial recipe and the thing you're trying to cook. Which is fine. But are you what? My controls? But yes, like for example, it's fine like to change. I mean, the rice wine was here, but like choosing another rice wine is possible. Choosing another oil is possible. Choosing like another piece of like meat is possible. But you have like to, as you say, like do your substitutions in a very defined manner. You cannot like swap everything freely while calling that like the same dish. But as you say, like this is a subjective like issue, and people are more or less like open to fusion dishes and so on. I have reindeer. How do I cook authentic Chinese food? I think like for me, Chinese food is like not exactly about like the ingredients. I mean, ingredients is a big part, but it's about the method and what you're really doing with your ingredients, how you're cooking them. And again, the cooking with the intent of being eaten, and it means like, for example, a shared dish, something that will sit at the middle of a table that will be shared among people. You shouldn't have to use your knife to cut like the food. This is like the Chinese cuisine ethos for me. But apart from that, like, yeah, it's like open to interpretation. It's kind of like Italian cuisine and the whole debate about like carbonara and the idea of like, should we use like cream or not in carbonara? And it's like, I wouldn't, but I get why people are doing it, and it's still like one variant of carbonara, and it's fine, I believe. It's just not exactly what most people in Italy would do. But that we don't really care because carbonara was like a very recent invention, as is like pizza in some way. And like there are like interesting discussions to have about like, I don't know if we have like Italian dishes, but like Italian cuisine authenticity is like a very recent invention, the same way Chinese cuisine authenticity is rooted in politics. And you can improvise, you can do different things. It's just like, again, what's the point? What are we trying to do? And are we trying to go for something that still can be called like Italian or Chinese? Or are we trying to are we trying to do like a fusion dish? I was just making a joke there. I mean, I love jokes. I know I don't like jokes, but like this is the library, so everything is conducive to like discussion. In my opinion, it's food. If I have to swap things, then so be it. It's still going in. I think so. It's just that how are you categorizing, the different things? And in some ways, like, who cares? But those are like more, political questions than pure cooking questions. I mean, Italy is a very recent invention. Yes, exactly. It has been like here for like, two centuries, and the unification, what we call like the risorgimento, and the unification of Italy was not like a clear-cut process. And even today, there's still like this sharp like divide between North and South Italy. Also, if you make substitution, it's no longer called carbonara. It's easier to just say it's carbonara than to say it's carbonara, but you scream it. Yeah, for sure. But that's again the question of like what is authenticity, and like in some ways authenticity cannot exist because like unless you have like a recipe that has been codified, let's say, by the government, which is the case, for example, in China. Authenticity shouldn't be like a problem, and even then, it's not that you're doing like the authentic dish; it's that you're like abiding by the political rules that have been set up. The same way you can call, for example, cheeses a certain name if they haven't been done in a certain region of France with a very specific method. Like camembert can only be called camembert if it has been done in Normandy. And is it authenticity? In some ways, because it's also about like preserving traditions, and I think like there's a good brand of authenticity when it's about like safekeeping recipes that are at risk of disappearing, instead of like projecting soft power on certain people or outside. And this is like a fine line to thread, but there are like very interesting books about this. Like I can like try to link. Let me go on the internet, because like there was like a very interesting book on authenticity, and also like this is a very interesting video as well. By the way, like the music has completely stopped for some reason because we exited the playlist, and I don't know why. Let me find something. Cooking. We're in full screen, right? So I just have to do... Yes. Authenticity is mentioned, jazz music stops, yes. That should be you, okay. I'll put that for now, but okay. So you have like this very interesting researcher, Michelle T. King, and she like wrote a really interesting book. So you have like Chop, Fry, Watch and Learn, which is kind of like a biography of her mom and the way she used to cook and what it meant like for a generation of people leaving their country, and how they would relate with like China from abroad. So very interesting book in general. But she also like wrote this Very, 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 very interesting book. Culinary nationalism in Asia, with like a big emphasis on China. And this is like a very interesting book because it like it showcases like the diversity of cooking across Asia, and it also talks about how we have like kind of like centripetal movements that are trying to simplify cooking in a very specific way, by saying that, for example, Chinese cooking abroad should be like Sichuan cooking and Cantonese cooking in general. And what it means like politically to do that, because it's about like erasing some other identities, especially in certain region where we know that like the central government, so the Han government is against in general. And this is like a very interesting book. It really talks about like authenticity and why authenticity just doesn't exist. Why we should like try to seek diversity in cooking, but understand that this diversity and this like cultural identity through cooking is something political. That's something that is dynamic, that is always being negotiated, and that we need to protect in some ways. I went to a Genovese restaurant that had a mean that technically was a protected designation of origin, so they had to be like to the style of, because they cannot even call it that. Yes, this is the situation with exactly like certain names being like only reserved to certain very specific areas. But yeah, I really like Michelle T. King. This book is like very academic, so it's not for everybody, but I really recommend Chop, Fry, Watch and Learn. This is like an incredible book, really fun to read, really interesting, especially if you have like even a passing interest in like Chinese like culture. Great. You're saying that even a simple cooking game is political? Yes, I'm saying that the choices of the representational choices from the game are obviously political, and that we need to like... I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to tell you that this is indeed political, and that we should be able to criticize those particular games for their representational choices, especially when I don't know, like cooking simulator. It's like a polished team, and I want to say like it shows. Okay, so mixed reviews also, by the way. But I don't want politics in my food. I'm sorry to say that you won't be able to escape. But yes, and also like again, she's doxing herself, but there's this like very interesting video that we can watch a little bit together. Because I think it's...
heard people say before that there's not just...
so now she's doing reactions. We are not doing reactions. We are doing like a complimentary commentary on this video. She's washed. No, please. We won't watch everything because it's very long, and although it's very interesting, I think like we don't have, like we won't be here for like 2 hours. But I want just to watch the start of the methodology and also the introduction. Go AFK, all the top streamers do it. No, we are not doing that. We are commenting everything. But there's not a lot to comment because he has a very good method. We're not doing reactions if you just don't react to the video. That's also true.
Just one Chinese cuisine, but there's 8 of them. But to me,
yes,
I think that there has to be way, way more.
Exactly. So this idea of like the traditional, the 8 traditional cuisines was really something that was like pushed by the government after the Cultural Revolution. And this was a way to, first of all, like solidify the idea that Han cuisine was the most important, and also because it kind of simplifies the entire Chinese cooking into broad categories that can be easily marketed, abroad, and even like interregionally. In a cooking video, Jack streamer, I thought the niche would never be filled. So true. But there's like an interesting thing about like this traditional cuisine, because you think like Cantonese, but Cantonese, like this is so like big. It's such like a big cuisine in general, and it has to be like cut in like smaller parts, and you can see that indeed he makes the choice of like subdividing like certain region. But what is really interesting to me is that those category helps like the soft power of China. For example, in Japan, we have like this saying that the best cuisine is in Canton. Because that's the name of a book that was written by a Chinese person that came to Japan to do a lot of of business, and he was like, I will write like a lot of books about my country. And so this is this I don't have like a picture, but this is basically like the book that is like kind of a bestseller in Japan, and that was like okay, we know that no Chinese cooking like is very good, and especially like Cantonese food. And yes, so like the construction of the 8 categories of the 8 like traditional cuisines is very political. Like even in Spain, I would say that there are more than 8 regional cuisine. Yes, exactly, because as someone that would taste like all the different cooking, the different cuisines, you would like identify a lot of different like schools and sense the difference. But it's not the point of like this division here. This division is political. It's about projecting power and also retaining power, soft power, from what is traditional cooking. But this is a very recent invention, to be honest. And that's why
I think that there has to be way, way more. So, like, let's talk the big 8: Cantonese, Sichuan, Hunan, Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Fujian, Shandong, and Anhui. Now, looking at the map there, I think that the incompleteness is probably pretty obvious. Like, there's no Xibei, so there's going to be no Liangpi, no Dongbei food, so no guobaoro, crispy sweet and sour pork, and no Beijing food, so no Peking duck. And the reason why that is because the Big 8 was never meant to list all of the cuisines of the country. It was an extension of the Big 4 banquet traditions of the country. The reason why Cantonese is on there and not Yunnan isn't because people in Yunnan don't have distinct food. It was because historically, Cantonese had an established system of banquet presentation that was enjoyed by the merchants and the mandarins of the Qing dynasty, and Yunnan didn't. But then, if it's not 8, how many exactly are?
And I believe like this is very interesting because we have the same thing in Japan and other countries. Like, for example, if you think about what most people have in their mind when they're thinking about like Japanese cooking, they will be like, oh, this is like ramen and sushi. But for ramen, I believe that we have accepted that there has a lot of different variants around the country. But for sushi, we are only seeing the very specific and standardized variation of sushi that has been exported abroad. But if you think about the history of sushi, it started as like fermented fish, put in barrels of salt with some rice also. But it was not at all what we think of as sushi. And I think, I don't know if, is there like a Wikipedia page for it? I'm not sure. Yes, there is. And well, we don't. This is not exactly. Yeah. Can I find like some picture for narizushi or not? But that would be, well, this is not exactly it, but that would be sushi. It's like just fermented fish with some rice on the side. And this is like still, a traditional dish that is eaten in some part of Japan. But we are not like accepting that as sushi nowadays. And this is like very interesting to me because there's an entire part of a Japanese culture that has been erased as part of like the soft power, because the point of like standardizing sushi was to project this like image abroad. And we know that sushi is like such a big thing nowadays. It does make sense that the Chinese international control projection is behind Japan, and for branding it would get super muddy to have such detail when I bet that you say that those 8 to an average American, they would not even know those places exist. Exactly. And that's why, like, for most people, Chinese cuisine is Cantonese, because when you go to Chinese, well, I'm unfortunately over the video here, but like, if you think about Chinese cuisine, it's about you don't see my cursor, or you do? I think. Do you? Sometimes I'm so unsure. I think you do. But like, this is like Guangzhou, because you won't like find a lot of restaurant that is doing more than that, especially because there was like school programs to like train people in Cantonese cuisine and send them abroad. But yes, and Japanese cooking, it has unfortunately this such a big aura because it has been like summarized to like sushi and ramen. And when you look at pictures of sushi in general, well, this is not exactly, I mean, I don't know. What do you want me to say? It's, yeah, it has erased such a big part of what, sushi was in the early times during the Edo era, during the Meiji era, and the standardization came during the tail end of the Meiji era. And I think this is like important to, understand, especially when we have during, with globalization, we have like access to more like cooking around the world, but those type of cuisines have been like adapted and also like a reflection of some political pressures, be it like preservation, because I don't know, you're fleeing your country and for disaster or because of the war, and you want to preserve your cooking abroad. Or it can be like the other way. It's like pushing certain aspects of your culture because it's like part of the larger soft power of a country. And I think like what is very interesting to me is that Italy, for example, is in this very weird spot where you have, like, in one hand, some of the immigrants that wanted to just, find, like, or still cook their own things, but like kind of adapting to the countries were they were in after like migrating, and it's especially the case in the US, but also in France, to be honest. And on the other hand, nowadays you have like a current of authenticity led by annoying celebrities and chefs that are like, if you don't cook it that exact way, this is like not something that we will call Italian. And you have like those two extremes, and Italy is kind of like lost in it because it cannot have a very strong, official positions between those two. You had Nia fermented. This is, from what I've heard, this is like great. This is really, really good. But I can't like guarantee you that, from personal experience. It's just hearsay of people that were able to eat that. But it looks great. I mean, like fermented fish and some rice. This is what is there to dislike? I would rather eat sand than nare sushi. I'm losing it. What do you have against fermented food? And so there's like the methodology of this entire video is like really good. So if you really are interested in like cooking and things like that, I really recommend watching this video because it's such a good one. I think it's the fish part. Oh, are you a fish hater? I don't remember that.
People of a Cantonese thing was this: Cantonese food and Daeju food, Chaozhou food, are different. Like, if these two cuisines weren't in the same country, I don't think there'd be any question about it. Like, the staple of a Cantonese meal is white rice, while in Daeju and Chaozhou, it can be rice or it can equally be mi, which is a thin rice porridge, which is often paired with these salty preserves that are popular in the area, especially Chinese olive.
And I think this is also the interesting part, is that when you are comparing like foods, there's obviously like the dishes, but there's also like the way we are eating things, and that's how you can have like some negotiation and some fusions in cooking nowadays, because like geographical frontiers and limits don't mean anything in cooking. People move around the world, they move around frontiers across border, and you have like some ideas that you will find from one specific, like, let's say, cooking region that or have been infused in like other regions. And it's true within China, but it's also true outside of China with like countries around it, and with a lot of like Chinese migrants that have taken some ideas of like specific Chinese cooking. And it's especially the case in Southeast Asia, where you have a deep Chinese influence. And it's also the case nowadays with Japan, that have been exporting some kind of soft power. And this soft power is kind of also changing the eating habits of, a younger generation. And in turn, it's also changing the way people are cooking in their daily lives. I think the Japanese word for fermented and rotted is the same. I don't trust that either, but yeah, mainly the fish. I mean, fermented and fermenting and rotting is basically the same process. There's no it's not it's not exactly the same thing, but fermenting is gross in some ways. But yeah, mainly the fish. I do understand. Like, I think like a lot of people cannot do with fish at all. Some people cannot do with like raw fish, which is also understandable. For me, like the interesting part is when people are like, I can eat fish, but I cannot eat other other seafood. That's like the weird part. I'm kind of unsure of. It's like, what's the rationale behind this?
Meanwhile, representative Cantonese dishes would be stuff like char siu, bak chik gai, dim sums, street nuza, you know the stuff. While Daeju fare would be things like their famed stewed duck and goose, guoro, which is meat.
And this is really things that you won't see much in Asian restaurants. I mean, Chinese restaurants in general, because again, this is like not Cantonese cuisine. So those are not like the staples. But also like those, again, this is like a bit. This is interesting because like this particular dish can be found, like, I think in several countries in Southeast Asia, and maybe not. Maybe not fried. I don't know, but meat wrapped in tofu skin. You will find that elsewhere. And it showcase again like that you have some movement of people around the globe across countries, and that cooking is a shared experience at all level, at the table, but also before in the cuisines.
Meat that's wrapped in tofu skin and deep fried, and all sorts of Lao pancakes, of which their oyster pancake is probably the most famous.
Which is, again, something that you will find a lot in Southeast Asia. It can be oyster, it can be other things, it can be fish eggs, and it's really good. But people will not think about it when they think about Chinese cuisine. The same way, by the way, people think about like summer rolls and spring rolls, but this is like only a very specific part of Chinese cuisine that is not eaten, regularly.
Of which their oyster pancake is probably the most famous. Now, obviously, there's contact here. It's not like Cantonese and Daeju have nothing to do with each other. There's a ton of cultural back and forth, particularly in Hong Kong, which we'll touch on later.
Exactly. And I think this is really interesting to have like those, more specific places that have become some sort of, I don't know, places, cultural, like melting pots, where everyone is coming with their own cultural background. And so you have this fusion of an interaction of cultures and of cooking cultures. And we're talking about cuisine, but it is the same with like other things, like the way people are clothed. So fashion, but also the way people talk, the way they are writing. We have like those interactions everywhere. And well, that's the point of like anthropology in general, is that culture is always dynamic, and that when we are studying things, and especially like specific, artworks, let's say, or just like, I don't know, films, books, and games. This is only like a slice of this entire history that is always moving, and that's why like doing a history of anthropological topics is really hard, because it's not easily acknowledgeable, I would say. You have like very small evolutions that are very hard to see, to sense, until a lot of time has passed. But to have in mind this idea that everything is in constant evolution is very important in those ideas. And again, that's why everything is political, and cooking is political. The way we cook, but also what we call, a certain.
But even
cuisine.
the dishes that they do share often have different versions. Like, they both have breakfast changfen, rice noodle rolls, but the Cantonese sort is a little more restrained and often topped with a seasoned soy sauce, while the Daeju sort is loaded with fillings and smothered in gravy. I mean,
And again, you will have like those dishes outside of, Guangzhou and Taozhou. Those are like dishes that you will find in Laos, in Thailand also. Again, not as he is saying, not in those exact, this exact disposition, but this is very similar. And it hints to like the influence of Chinese cuisine and of people going there.
The Daeju sort is loaded with fillings and smothered in gravy. I mean, like, shit, come on. The cities even speak different languages. If Spanish food is different from Portuguese food, I think it's fair to say that Cantonese food is different from Daeju. So, our rule of thumb number 1, the 50% rule. If you'd estimate that more than 50% of the dishes are different, and the ones that are the same often have different versions, then it's a different cuisine. Now, next, let's move up the Han River to Meizhou, which is like Hakka Central. Now, if you're not familiar, the Hakka are a fascinating Chinese subgroup that over the centuries migrated down from the north of China down into the south, into Guangdong, Jiangxi, Fujian, and then from there, practically the four corners of the earth. So they've got these dishes that, at least apocryphally, come from trying to make flour-based northern Chinese food down south of China's fabled wheat-rice divide. So things like
Exactly. And so my cat is is awake, but there's obviously like the geographical approach. When we're talking about cuisine, we are cooking with the ingredients that are available to us. And I think, Rani, you were saying that earlier, is that we need to substitute things because they are not available where we are. And this particular map that we are seeing right now is kind of showcasing that yes, we have like a different approach of cooking with like more wheat in the north and more rice in between in at the bottom. And that when people are traveling, they come with this cultural baggage of like, oh, but I've cooked with this particular ingredient in all my life, and I will just try to, cook with it still after moving. And if I really cannot, then I will be forced to make some adaptations and some adjustments. But that's why, like, cultural identities are always in negotiation. I just had a sudden realization that could be very incorrect. Chinese people traditionally eat everything. Does the whole shared big meal influence that? Because to me, one of the things that made me dislike certain meals is being forced to eat meals I did not want to. Am I totally missing it? It's hard to say. There is obviously like it's hard to say. First of all, because like I'm not, living in Asia, so it means that I have only, second generation experience of what Asian cuisine is. I would say, at least for me. So again, you take that the way you want. It's like a personal anecdote and not something that can be used like scientifically. But I was invited to eat as many different things when I was a child. It's like, okay, you have like this. You go see your family and you have 3, 4, or 5 different dishes. And I know that often I would have my favorite within. It's like, oh, I don't know, this particular day I was craving this particular dish, so I will latch onto it more than the other. But I was not forced to eat everything. And so it made me go very I was like more of an adventurer. It was like, oh, but I can eat what I want, but I can go towards something else. And that's why like I got used to flavors that are a bit unconventional, especially in the West, like very bitter flavors. I really like them, but that's because like they were on the table. I was able to taste them, but those were not like forced. This was not forced. That was me going towards that particular dish and then beginning to like it. It's really an acquired taste. And I think if you live in this kind of environment where you have the possibility within being forced, then yes, you are, I think, less of a picky eater and you tend to be more adventurous. Whereas if you are forced to taste everything, maybe you will feel picky also. If you only have one dish and you're forced to eat that particular dish, you will be picky. I don't know. I'm writing a paper with a case study based on one individual too late. This is terrible. But yeah, I would say, like, at the very least, I feel like my adventurous side in food is really linked to my upbringing and the uh, uh, the fact that I had like a lot of open doors in front of me, but I was not forced to explore them. What is music according to Rani? A case study, yes. But I would say in general, I do think that sharing dishes is a bit better because you don't have like the pressure to. It's like if you don't like this particular dish, you would just eat less of it, and you have one or two other uh, dishes that you can eat, and I think it's like pretty healthy. I was forced and I turned out fine. Yes, but you're like a very special individual, and I mean that, you know, as a compliment in the sense that you are very adventurous with like everything, and I think um, this obviously translates into food, but every stream I get called special, but again, I really mean that like as a compliment because I think there's, you know, an innate need to have categories and to abide by rules, and I know that at the very least I do abide by rules. But being able to go beyond, beyond them and also against them, this is like really a quality. Your message failed to send. Um, and yeah, I mean, like your taste of music is also very idiosyncratic, and I think it's great. But like a lot of people, I believe, are like picky eaters because, you know, they were forced with things that were just not good. I mean, at least here in France, this is like very usual to cook vegetables by boiling them. You would not like stir fry them. You would not steam them. You would like just throw some, I don't know, carrots and I don't know, peas and spinach like in a pot of boiling water. Maybe you put a little bit of salt if you think about it, but that's all. As a guess, how many Chinese people are picky eaters? I don't know. But to finish on the boiling veggies, yes, this is like crazy to me, but like most people have grown up like this. And then they're all like, I'm such a picky eater today, or I hate vegetables, like I cannot eat them. And I'm like, I mean, this is not good, but I understand why. Um, on the topic of like Chinese people being picky eaters, I think it's mostly that you will latch to your I don't know. I would say that you will latch to your regional cuisine. And like it's sometimes hard to go outside of your comfort zone, especially in terms of spice, things like that. Like if you have, I don't know, not lived in like Sichuan and then you go to Sichuan and you try to do the restaurants there, you will suffer a little bit, I think, in general. But at the very least, the very scientific array of, 10 Chinese people that I know, in very close, in a close way, they are not picky eaters. None of them are. It's so true though. Like my sister asked for a vegetarian menu at school and got offered like plain boiled Brussels sprout and a salad. Uh, I mean, this is like, I just don't know why in the West there's this like distaste of like cooking vegetables other than boiling them. But also there's something to say about the West and like not knowing how to like use spice um, and herbs in general. But I don't know. Uh, for me, like one interesting thing is that we believe in most of like Eastern Europe that spice when you're like you need well I mean you just use salt and pepper, right? And this feels like crazy to me because like the basic spices everywhere else in the world are a combination of more spices. Um, and for example, like I think that the mirepoix is such a lazy foundation for flavor. Plain boiled Brussels sprouts is the reason why people don't like Brussels sprouts. It's exactly because like you need to blanch them and then you like stir fry them or you bake them. I don't care, but like roast them. I mean, but aren't most spices coming from outside of Europe? Yes, that's what I mean. It's like uh, because like Europe uh, didn't have like this really deep rooted culture of like spice. Even with like globalization, there's like this distaste of spice. Be it like 4 spices, 5 spices, whatever your regional variant is, but it feels like too much for them. And it's the same with like herbs. Uh, but give me 2 seconds. I will just like put the lights on and then we can continue this yapping conversation. But yeah, there's this thing like most of Western recipes will use like parsley as the aromatic herbs, and I'm like, I'm sorry to say, like I know I'm such a hater, but it's like such a plain and like boring aromatic herbs. It has like no taste. And if you think it has, then you need like to eat other herbs from or aromatics around the world. Um, like I know a lot of people are like cilantro is I can't eat that because it has such a soap flavor, and I'm like, okay, but it's because you have been used to something that was plain. And I know that cilantro is like disliked, all around the world, and especially in Japan. But well, Japan is in the same problem, right? In the sense that Japanese cooking is very subdued. When you find flavor, it's because it's fried. But usually, there's no spice in Japanese food. Especially when you check nowadays what are used to add like some flavors is like Japanese like mayo and this is like a very safe way to introduce, flavor to meals, and that's why Japanese people cannot handle spice most of the time. It does make sense that traditionally encoded recipes are just plain grilled. Yes, because like that's the only thing that was available to you. And you have like some dishes that were, preserved in salt. And there's like in some parts of Europe, this culture of like preservation and pickling, but it's not exactly as I would say prevalent in other regions. I think that herb was used more as a cleanser than for taste traditionally. True, but it's yeah. Coriander is great. Yeah, I love coriander. I love like cilantro, and I mean when like a recipe is asking me for like um I don't know very plain herbs, I would like switch to coriander immediately. So you're sending me gachas. An ancestral basic dish of central and southern Spain is cruel, whose main ingredients are flour, water, olive oil, garlic, paprika, and salt. But you have this idea still of, like we are adding a little bit of flavor with like the olive oil, garlic, and paprika. But yes, you can see that it's very limited to the ingredients that were available here. But also that's why like the Mediterranean regime is mostly about, it's kind of snacking in a way. You don't eat meat, you eat like a little bit of fish maybe, but it's a lot of like nuts, olives, vegetables, and olive oil. But it's very different from what we have today. Like the transition, I think, to boiled vegetable is like one of the worst thing in Western history in terms of what cooking is in Western Europe. I love an olive oil snack. Olive oil is like, I know, like we had this discussion earlier of like you cannot use olive oil everywhere, but like it's so good. Olive oil is so good. This is crazy. But that's also the problem that we have. I think in some countries we have, and with globalization, we have strayed away from the more, let's say, traditional Mediterranean regime that is very good for the environment and for people in general. Nous avons bu de l'huile, so true, +2. But yes, and I think like you can find like interesting like there's again always this idea that if you want to know about a country and its culture, you check what bread and what soup they are making, because that will tell you everything you need to know in terms of well, because it's about like basic dishes, basic like staples that are eaten like always, and the ingredients that are used like for the bread and for the soup or the expression of what this particular culture is rooted on. But yes, I think like I really think that cooking is something interesting in all aspects. I believe that cooking is one of the best way to know about a culture, and I really want to get a bit more into food studies and things like that, and maybe talk about that on stream, because I think it's such an interesting topic.
Mission.
Beyond just like eating, we are not here to salivate or things like that. We're talking about people.
And then we do survey work to find the boundaries, which to me,
I want just the
students
slide
are
with like,
and then we do in an academic
I think also this is very interesting, this idea of like self-determination, because again, it's rooted in the idea that cooking is like part of your identity, and sometimes like you will like showcase some recipes because they are different from what is eaten in the more overwhelming culture around you. And so it's a way, it's like kind of a bastion, a self-defense method to ascertain your not ascertain but establish your identity. And this is rooted in a lot of ideas around colonialism, right? In the sense that if you have to do some self-determination, it means that you feel like your culture is struggling or is at risk of disappearing. And this is why you have like such, for example, a big divide on Korean and Japanese dishes that are sometimes like very close to each other, often by the intermediary of like China. But Korean will be really mad at you if you told them that their dish are Japanese, because well, you know the history between Korea and Japan. We don't have to do an entire session on that. The divide is made by war crimes. +2. +2. And then there are interesting things also. There are like movements of like dishes going, you know, out of a country, and they come back in another form, and then it kind of influenced the starting country. I think again, sushi is like a very good example. Like it went to America and then came back to Japan, and now all the new things that were invented in America are not staples, but or basically eaten in Japan as well. This started as a cooking simulator stream. But that was always the point of me choosing this game. Like, if the game was good, I would have been happy to play more, but it sucks, and I just want to talk about cooking. And now we have reached war crimes. I mean, we can always reach, you know, Japanese war crimes in this particular on this channel. I'm very happy to. It's like, go to Japanese war crimes in like 5 steps. And it's pretty easy. Mentioning basmati rice with ketchup, which is a war crime. This is true. Maybe we are just going back to the root of the stream, to the beginning. But yeah, and I think like this is I'm putting it on the bingo card. Japanese war crimes. This is also an interesting thing about like to go back on the rice topic, because there are so many rice. I mean, variety of rice. And if you're, you know, deep in the rice game, you will know the difference between them, and you know that you shouldn't cook them the same way, and that they are not used for the same dishes, just because they have like innate qualities that will match well with certain dishes. And I do abide by those rules. Like I try to use basmati rice when, you know, I'm doing like Indian dishes. I'm trying to use like jasmine rice when I'm doing Southeast Asian dishes or Chinese dishes, and I'm trying to use like japonica rice when I'm trying to do Japanese dishes. But there's like a lot of people that don't know the difference between them, that are struggling. To me, like it seems like a bit weird, but people are struggling with like their rice cooker. They're like, I can't manage. I'm not able to make good rice. And again, there's this question of where do we put the limit to like, you can use whatever rice you want. You can do that in a pan if you want. For me, like you're losing something because your rice is not good. Like it's more like gruel than anything else. But if you enjoy your weird basmati rice, if you enjoy your weird like jasmine rice, I cannot stop you. I use jasmine rice for Indian curry. I think it's all right. Rice is essentialist. I think I am. I think I am. Just because the dish where, not because I think like it's the authentic way, it's just that the dish was like developed around those varieties of rice, and to me, after tasting them, I'm like, it just works. So why would I like try to alternate between them? But at the same time, I know a lot of people, especially Japanese people, that are like, we are so used to like japonica rice that we cannot eat basmati or jasmine. And I do agree, like japonica rice is really, really, really good. And I really love the texture as well. But it's a matter of education. It's a matter of how much you have been exposed to, you know, certain variety of rice. Living in France, of course, I had like access to jasmine rice through Asian like stores, but I also had access to like French and Italian rice that are used mostly in risotto. And it gave me like this idea that, oh, we can like alternate rice depending on the dish we're cooking. But at the end of the day, like you're choosing what you want to do. Making basmati rice paella, arroz del delta for sushi. I mean, you can do whatever you want as long as it tastes good for you. I mean, at some point, like I will, like my personal taste don't matter in that, you know, that issue. It's like if you are doing a meal and it tastes good for you and you really are convinced that it's the best way even after tasting like the other variant, then please do what you want to do. No rules. That's why I'm saying you're special, Siggy, because some people need rules. But even here for different rice meals that are traditional, you use different types of rice. Like we have 2-3 local types, like more round grains, longer grains. Yes, exactly the same way. You have japonica that is round, more round, and you have like jasmine or basmati that is more long. And I think there's arroz negre. You would use a rice that grabs the flavor more soupy rice. Yeah, exactly. Let me try to find something I wrote, if I can find where I wrote that. I'm not sure. I don't know. No, maybe I wrote that somewhere else. I think I wrote that and I didn't save it. But also one interesting thing, and no, because it was about numbers, and I did like some research, like, you know, and I should have saved that, but unfortunately. What I want to say, and maybe we can end the discussion on this, unless like you are coming with like 2 million different topics afterwards. But if we take like rice in Japan, we know that a big part of like the post-war culture, and we'll talk about that in a Live of Their Books, not in this season, but the season after. A big part of Japanese agricultural plan after the war was to reach self-sufficiency. Well, that was imposed by the US with the occupation government. But we had like this period of like extreme production of rice that kind of like, you know, created an entire industry, an agricultural industry around that, until, you know, there was like an overproduction in the 70s. And nowadays we're in a situation where Japan has this like insane like surplus of rice. Like they were stoking tons and tons and hundreds of tons of rice. Like the government was like buying the rice to the farmers because we needed like to inject money in the economy. And well, nowadays it's interesting because I think like 2 days ago the government was like selling those stocked piles of rice because like the production of this year has been like pretty bad and there's like a shortage of rice. But what is interesting is that there is like a whole structure of rice culture around the country, and there's a very deep sense of I don't know how to say that, like regionalism. Like you have your favorite rice variety and people will say that my region has the best rice because it's the taste that I've been accustomed to, especially if you are like someone that lived, you know, on the countryside and came to like a big city for your studies and for your work. And in Japan, you have this really deep sense of like the quality of the rice is extremely important because people are, by virtue of their system being so developed, they are very attentive to that. And that's why most Japanese people will tell you that it feels very, very weird to eat something that is really outside of Japanese rice, of rice japonica, because it is just not the same. And it's again like fostering habits at, you know, cultural level, at a social level, because you have like the material structures that are supporting like those identity pushes. And this is very interesting to me. And you have like so many different examples. For example, like to go back like to the ramen discussion. In the West, we see ramen as being like such a staple of like Japanese, not cuisine, but at least what the Japanese people are eating. But like the construction of ramen in Japan is very specific. It still is, but a bit less than nowadays. It's viewed as something very masculine. Women would not go to ramen stands or restaurants because it was filled with men eating outside, you know, their lunch. And as a woman, you would tend to like go to other places. And it really gave like ramen this very masculine quality. And nowadays it's starting to change, but when you check like the, you know, smaller restaurants where people are eating when they are leaving work, I mean for lunch, this is still very gender coded. And those like phenomena happened on a scale of, you know, of decades. So it's like it's really hard to fight against those habits, even if nowadays it's changing because of the gourmet culture and there's interesting things at play. But again, this is a coming episode of A Leaf of Their Books, so let's not say too much here. But yeah, and the same way, like on the reverse, like for a man, it still is very weird to go to a cafe to eat sweets or cakes. Like this is much more of a feminine activity than a masculine activity, and it's changing, but you still have that stigma flying around. So yeah, like those kisaten, they are really places for women first and foremost. And the question is, what are we doing with that? How are we able to like break those gender codes or not? And the answer for Japan, I believe, is like yes, but it's a very slow process. So interesting ideas about food everywhere, about authenticity, about how people are interacting with food, being by cooking it or by eating it, and yeah. Ichigo shortcake. Exactly. Exactly. This is literally that. And I don't know, even like you can watch like videos nowadays, like, and you just check the interior of, you know, certain cafes or restaurants, and you really know what is the targeted like demographics for this particular restaurant. You don't even have to check the menu. It's like just with the vibes, and then you check the menu and you're like, ah, yes, because this food was traditionally more aimed or was traditionally more targeting women or men, and yeah, a lot of stigma that or that have yet to disappear, but it's moving slowly. So this is a good thing, and I think we have the same thing around the world. It's a bit the same thing everywhere, especially, for example, chocolate, hot chocolate. Well, not nowadays, but like in the past, that were mostly mostly uh, drunk by women. What are you saying, Shigi-san? And the kanji, or like, is it like, what are those? What are those? And I have like also the die. What is the romaji for those? It's not that. Okay, it's not Darashi. It's not Darashi like. It's like. Yes, it's Subarashi. Okay, Subarashi. Yes, 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 yes. Which is always a weird word for me, because like I think like the kanji, like you cannot infer the meaning from the kanji. It's like just you need to know how it's pronounced and then it makes sense. But also, like, are people writing Subarashi in, I don't know, maybe they're writing Subarashi in kanji, whatever. But I think, yes, this is like, this was the point of like the stream. The game was like bad. There's like nothing to say here. I think we have discussed, and it was like kind of like self-evident how interesting it was on a lot of, you know, aspects. Unless you're going really for the, oh, I'm making my kitchen burn. But I think we had an interesting conversation, and again, it was like my goal with this stream. So yeah, I think I will leave here probably. And we shall see each other on Wednesday for Dark Souls, where we'll do some progress this time. Probably. You're sending me a link. Why can't I open the link in my browser? Subaru to shrink, to get smaller. The initial sense was strongly negative, and this usage continued until at least the mid. Interesting. So it's like sugoi. Yes, exactly. It's the same thing as sugoi, right? Being like horrible and excellent at the same time. And the modern kanji spelling could be considered an ateji. Yeah, so it is an ateji. Yes. I see. Because this kanji means like, for me it's like foundational element, elementary, like an elementary particle. And this is like clearing, right? To dispel, to clear away. So well, that's why it's an ateji. So yes. So yes, we shall see each other for Dark Souls on Wednesday. On Friday, we will be doing like an episode of like a Leaf of the Books as planned. Well, you know, it will be the usual thing nowadays. And after that, we'll do like web fishing. So be here or I will be forced to fish alone and it will be very sad and I will cry and I will say that my chat doesn't like me and that Sigi is like pushing for like fishing games but she's not here, and that's like really sad. So be there or be square for like web fishing, but it will be Dark Souls first, and God or Goddess help us. So thank you for today. I hope that at the very least we had like an interesting conversation, more than like an interesting gameplay experience. And I will see you next time. So have a good evening / day, depending on where you are. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.